this was a little tough one for me this week. Obviously, Georgia's going to be my number one. I picked against them in my bowl just because I wanted a crazy pick. If it
Oh
would have
yeah.
worked out, I would have sounded like a genius. But I didn't really think Kentucky would beat them. But they did what they were supposed to do. Number two for me is OU, man. I said this last week when Caleb Williams came in the game and he started playing really good. I was like, this is going to be the offense I think that we were expecting to see from OU. And man, the kid's electric, man. True freshman, balling out.
Mm.
I love what I'm seeing. OU now looks very dangerous. Now I know it's only a game and a half sample size, and obviously as you get more film, you'll be able to kind of break it down. But the kid just has the it factor, man.
Yes.
He just has the it factor, and the team plays hard for him. And I'm liking OU's chances to finish undefeated at this point. This is where stuff gets a little tricky for me, man. Number three, I'm gonna roll in and just say Bama. They
Okay.
came off the big loss last week, but man, they handled business against Mississippi State. They looked sharp.
Mm-hmm.
They looked refocused. And thanks to the playoff era, and it's no longer the BCS, you can kind of suffer a loss. And if they handle business and go to the SEC championship game, I think they could I think they can give Georgia a run for their money. I don't know if they'll beat them. It's just for me
Me too.
where it gets tight. Number four, man, and there's so many people to pick from. I'm gonna say originally I was gonna go with my boys in blue, but I'm just not fully so. So I got to go to the other undefeated team, and that's Cincinnati because they did what they were supposed to do this week. They did, and I've been reading up on them all week. I've been paying a little bit more closer attention to them since the win at Notre Dame, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're just supposed to blow teams out. You have
Mm-hmm.
to blow them out of the water, and that's exactly what Cincinnati is doing. And as long as they keep doing that, they're going to get a vote for me. I like Luke Fickle. I like Cincinnati. I would like to see them get a shot. We'll be able to see what happens. My next two in, this is where it gets tough. I got a little bias over here for my next guys up. I like Ole Miss, man. They played a tough one. They played a tough one yesterday, but Matt Corral,
Mm-hmm.
200 yards, 230 in the air, another 200 on the ground. I mean, as he goes, that offense goes. And if you catch him hot on the right game, I think they can compete
Mm-hmm.
with just about anybody in the country. And then number six, I hate saying it, but if I'm on the board, I know this is probably where it's going to go. I'm going to pick Ohio State. Um,
Mm.
don't like saying it, but they have the best wide receiver core in the country, I believe, if not the best, the second best. With Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, they have Trevion Henderson, a true freshman's ball, and C.J. Stroud's look good. Now, my only caveat is the last two teams they have played have been very subpar Big Ten teams. And I
Mm.
think we're really about to figure out if Ohio State's really kind of ramping back up because that's everyone's prediction right now is they're going to run the table. But they're about to
Right.
experience the gauntlet of the Big Ten with Michigan State, Penn State, and Michigan. So that would be my top four with my next two in.
Well, and to piggyback on that, as the season's playing out, it does kind of seem like Ohio State's just going to find a way
Mm-hmm.
to run the table, win the Big Ten, and then find their way in the CFP at season's end. But I hope not, just for the sake of just something different. I mean, like I look at a team like Cincy, like if they're gonna really sustain, their ranking and be able to stay in the CFP, I do think it's gonna require Bama or Georgia having two losses.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I think both those teams are in, and I think that, yeah, uh, you. I'm just thinking if the Big Ten plays out, maybe it would have to be Ohio State to get in there. I don't know. That's a conversation for a different time. Just like what would it take for Cincy? Because yeah, they're number 2 now, but as Bama keeps winning games, as these Big Ten teams keep winning games, eventually they're probably going to get leaped
Yep.
and most likely left out unless everything plays itself to in a way where you've got these 2-loss teams, you've got a lot of 1-loss teams, and then you're going, we have to
You
put
got to
them
give
in.
them a shot. Yeah.
So here's how I did this week. Okay. I did it a little different. I'm going to tell you the matchup I want for each seed. Okay. So I've got a matchup for 1 through 4 plus that it's not really the next two in. It's my next two in matchup. That makes sense.
I got you.
So I've got Georgia and Bama playing each other for the number 1 spot. I've got Bedlam for the 2 spot.
Ooh.
OU versus Oak State. I think Oak State, and I'll say this a little bit later, but I think that they probably could be getting a little more respect than what they've been getting, and I'll explain that a little bit later on this episode. Number 3, I've got Michigan versus Michigan State.
Whew.
Playing for that spot.
2 weeks, man.
And then for the 4th spot, I've got Cincinnati playing the Ole Miss Rebels.
Ooh.
For that 4th spot. And I know who I think would win that game. But it kind of just worked itself out with OU, Oak State, Michigan State. I'm thinking these are teams that have beaten everybody that have been put in front of them. And right now, if the season were to end today, I would like to see those 4 games played for those 4 slots. And then my next game in, I've got Ohio State. And I really wanted to put Wake Forest just because they're undefeated. They're kind of right now the only hope for the ACC as it pertains to any of these types of conversations. I already said it last week. I think they're going to lose to Army this week. In fact, I said it last week because I thought the game I misread. I thought the game was this past weekend, but it's actually this upcoming weekend. Mm-hmm. But I didn't, because I went and looked at Wake Forest's schedule, and I just thought I can't do it. So I've got that last game. You want to know who it is? It's Ohio State versus A&M, because after A&M, you better watch out for them down the stretch. I think
they're hot right now.
I think
man.
You come off beating the number 1 team. There was no hangover at Mizzou. Okay, now I'm not sitting here trying to say Mizzou is this elite program right now, but it was a road SEC game. And they just went in and dominated and took care of business. So that's my lineup. Georgia, Bama for the 1 spot. OU, Oak State for the 2 spot. Michigan versus Michigan State for the 3 spot. Ole Miss and Cincy for the 4 spot. And then Ohio State and A&M for that last game in.